Today's video, it's the greatest hero of them all, Masterverse Sunman, on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
Hey out there in action figure land, Way I Got It Figured back with another Mattel Masterverse figure review. This time we're looking at Sunman from the Hero Rulers of the Sun line, which has been folded into Masters of the Universe proper. I got this figure on Amazon.com. It was actually a gift for Valentine's Day from my beautiful wife Victoria. I had picked up some Masters of the Universe, Masterverse figures on Target, from Target at a very steep discount. And Sunman was one of the figures that was on clearance, but I didn't even scan them. I was so happy to pick up Hordak and King Grayskull. I said, "Oh, I'll come back for Sunman," and of course he was gone. And my wife and I were in Target another day, and I mentioned that I was, bummed that I didn't get him. So she took a note, and on Valentine's Day, she presented me with Sunman. So we're going to, of course, as we do, look at Sunman in the package, get him out, go over the box, go over the accessories, and a little bit of history of the character, and then the final word. So with that, we'll get started. All right, so we've got Sunman in his package. He is part of the 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe, which debuted in 1982. Sunman himself didn't come till around 1985, but it's the 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe. He of course got an origin, a Masters of the Universe origin figure. They've made multiple Sunmans. They definitely went all in on it, and Sunman's cast. There's a pig head coming for Masterverse if it's not already out, and I might get pig head just to go along with Sunman because he's the main villain. So looking at Sunman's packaging, of course we have Sunman in the package, looking pretty cool. Rulers of the Sun, Sunman. We got some artwork of Sunman. On the other side, of course, you got Sunman, greatest hero of them all. Got your Masterverse with 30 points of articulation. You got your text. Sunman, greatest hero of them all. In the world of Trifexa, Prince Sunny harnesses the power of the first sun to transform into Sunman. His magical melanin skin gives him unequaled, unlimited, and special super strength in his fight against the wicked ones for fairness and equality throughout the universe. Sun power. Got some nice artwork of Sunman on the back. And you have your cross-cell, Battle Armor He-Man, Sunman, Hero, and Jitsu. Of these, the only one I've ever seen in the store is Sunman. My buddy Phil over at Crossfire Collectibles has Hero and Jitsu. He even did the video for Jitsu, and I liked that they made Jitsu a good guy. It's a new attorney of Jitsu, and he's a good guy. He was like a criminal that was misunderstood or whatever, but he's not a villain, and maybe that's a good thing. I'd probably be interested to see Battle Armor He-Man, but I've never seen it in the store. And of course, you've got your Mattel empowering the next generation through play, and they are certainly living up to that with their inclusion of Sunman into the larger Masters of the Universe. So we're going to get Sunman out of the package with his accessories, go over everything, and I'll talk about some of the history of the character as well as the company that produced him, and we'll get into it. All right, so we got Sunman on the turntable with his accessories, as we do. Sunman's looking pretty good. They say he has 30 points of articulation, but that's just a figure. He's probably got a couple more because of these sort of sun energy wings that he has. And you know, he's looking pretty cool. They look like they've modernized him a little bit. He's got a nice high top fade, brought into the modern era with the Masterverse formula. He comes with his signature weapon. I don't know what you call this, a glaive or a spear. I'm not sure what we call that, but that's the weapon he always had. And of course, he's got his shield. And you know, I'll give it to Mattel. They make a pretty good shield. They're not terrible at that. This one doesn't seem to, there's not a whole lot of clearance for the hand, so you're probably going to want to use this hand, I'm guessing. Something like that. We'll see. We'll see in a bit. Also has a fisted hand. And that's pretty much it. Of course, this is a non-deluxe Masterverse figure. Actually, the first that I've ever gotten. So you know, he's probably going to come with a little bit less in the accessory category, but that's cool. We'll look at his articulation, which, you know, the Masterverse articulation is pretty well known now, with the elbows. There is a moderate ab crunch that is, of course, somewhat limited by the vest, which, as we can see, is removable. He has this sort of skirt on that's also removable. I'm not sure if the bracers are. I don't think the bracers are removable. That's part of his arm. Head looks up and down and turns, of course, like that. You can give him the confused dog face pose. Thigh swivel, knee bend, and ankle rocker. And of course, boot cut. So it's all there, folks. The usual articulation. Because of the interchangeable hands, of course, he has wrist rotation as well. And of course, we have the wings that you can pose out robustly. Not sure what that will do from a standing position, as it may imbalance the figure. We'll find out soon enough. One thing I've been a lot more cognizant of is, you know, figures with feet that are somewhat too small. The smaller the foot, the less ease you will find in standing the figure up. So You know, of course, they will mostly all stand up in static poses, but if you want to do dynamic poses, it's going to likely be a factor. So we're going to go ahead and pose him, stand him. So as you can see, he can stand. Oh. His wingspan is impressive, so I have to move the turntable to avoid getting him caught on the wall, but he's not going anywhere. So that's nice. So next up, we'll put his accessories on and check that out. All right, so here's Sunman with his weapons attached, and he holds his shield just fine. I didn't really have anything to worry about there. And he's got his spear type weapon. I need to really look that up, see what it's officially called. But you know, he looks good, man. This is a good looking figure. It's a figure a character that I like that they've incorporated him into the line. You know, like everybody else that watches these videos and collects these figures. You know, I was a kid once, and like all kids, you know, you lack wisdom, you don't know things. And I remember seeing Sunman in, you know, sort of like B and C tier stores, and you know, I thought he was sort of like just like a rip off of a He-Man, just to make a black He-Man type character, and I didn't really value it. Now, that said, you know, by the time Sunman came out, and really by the time Masters of the Universe came out, I was fully immersed in like G.I. Joe. And the only thing that sort of broke that up maybe in '85 was like Thundercats. I was always more into Thundercats perhaps than the Masters of the Universe. So it wasn't quite my audience in the first place. But even as a kid, I did read about the story of how Sunman came to be. And so once I had read that story, or however it was presented to me, I think my uncle might have given me the article to read. And so basically, Sunman was created by a mom who was concerned by the name of Yila Eason. I might be pronouncing her first name wrong, but it's Y-L-A, Eason. And her son loved Masters of the Universe toys, but there was no African-American character to, put himself into the Masters of the Universe, line. It's sort of like Mattel's motto now, empowering the next generation through play. Well, if you didn't have a character that even kind of looks like you, then it might be hard to have, it might be hard to relate. I never really thought too much about that stuff, and I had Stalker and G.I. Joe, of course, and most of the other lines usually had at least one African-American character in there. G.I. Joe later started doing a little bit more representation. You had your Native American characters. You didn't get an Asian character until Storm Shadow, and he was a villain, but then they turned Storm Shadow into a good guy, sort of like they did with Jitsu in New Eternia. So, eventually, inclusion, as we went through the 80s, inclusion became more and more easy to find, so to speak. So yes, so Sunman, created by, she has a PhD Yala Eason. She formed a company called the Olmec Toy Company, and she still owns Sunman. They're just sort of partnering with Mattel to bring Sunman into Masters of the Universe. And from what I've seen, people have actually, warmly accepted Sunman into Masters of the Universe. So you get your flowers at some point. And I myself, being a kid that didn't necessarily appreciate Sunman, definitely have a lot of appreciation for it. The origins of the character, the origins of the toy itself, why it was done, what it's supposed to represent. As for Sunman himself, he's the greatest hero of them all. I think maybe I saw somewhere like, more powerful than He-Man or something like that. I don't know, maybe equally as powerful as He-Man. But in her creation of the character, she incorporated the idea that his skin itself, with the super melanin or whatever it is, gives him his strength. His strength literally comes from his skin, and I guess he's like the leader of the good guys, like Space Sumo, and what's the other guy? There's like a Hispanic character that's like the computer guy or the digital guy, and then it's very cool. It's very inclusive, and if you only could go back in time and realize that these things were done to give people something to look up to when they played and had their adventures, I would have certainly respected it more, had I known. But we can't go back, and there's no need to go back because we have Sunman now, and I'm here for it. He was given to me on Valentine's Day, as I said, for my wife, who, I had been talking to her about Sunman, and, and the whole thing, and how I kind of wanted one, and so, thoughtful as she is, she got me a Sunman, so there you go. Now, we would be remiss if we didn't have He-Man and Sunman together, so we're going to do that next. So they're He-Man and Sunman together. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I reviewed Masterverse 40th Anniversary He-Man a little while ago. Still love the figure, of course. And it's great to have He-Man to go along with Sunman. So, they look, obviously the proportions are the same because they're all of the same body. But there you go. And I'm, in general, I guess what I should say, in general, I've never been a big He-Man fan. I don't know, it's wrong to say that. It just wasn't my favorite thing. Let's just put it that way. I was lifting my sword just like everybody else with the power of Grayskull. It just wasn't that big. It wasn't as big to me as G.I. Joe and Transformers. It just wasn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got to have their favorite. But that's not to say that I didn't like Masters of the Universe. It just wasn't my favorite thing. But it's very nice to have these figures. They're very nicely done. They're very well done. They look great on the shelf. They look great together. And I'm glad that, in nearly 50 years of life, I was able to come around to this. So there you go. So next up, I'm going to do final thoughts to wrap this video up. Final thoughts on Masterverse Sunman. It's a great update to a great character with a great history and story, and who can now join the pantheon of the Masters of the Universe with no problem. For me, I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10. I like him just as much as I enjoy my 40th anniversary He-Man. Maybe even a little better. Mostly due to the vibrant colors that he has. The colors are just, they're just vibrant. And I know it's the red, black, and green with gold, kind of, Africanish kind of look. And that's okay, but I enjoy, it just looks good. It's a good looking figure. And I'm also gonna give him a 10 because I'm glad that he's in the Masters of the Universe proper, and we have, somebody who can represent everybody in Masters of the Universe. So yeah, if they had done Clamp Champ or whatever, I would kind of think the same way, maybe a little bit. Clamp Champ came out in 1986 when I was long past, by 1986 I wasn't even thinking about Masters of the Universe. But, I certainly would have got him. So yeah, man, this I just think it's a good thing overall. I think it's a good thing, and I'm happy to have them. So there you go. I'm gonna keep rambling about it. 10 out of 10 for Rulers of the Sun, Sunman. If you're new to the channel, obviously we invite you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Turn on notifications, so you can be alerted when we do further videos. This weekend is my birthday weekend. It's actually February 17th. So, I'm still going to have videos up. Might be a little bit more of a challenge just because I'm not going to be in front of a camera or have access to my normal kind of setup. But there will be videos. So, yeah. Hopefully we will see everybody on the next video. And until then, stay safe and peace out.